So hi everyone. Thanks for joining Quilts on Tours, Tea Time with an Everyday Quilter. And our everyday quilter today is Adriana. And we are just going to ask her a couple of questions about how she started quilting and just dive right into why she does it. So first, before we start that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I am a wife and mother. I have two teenage boys that are 15 and 13, and I've been married for 26 years now. I have to think. We've
Yeah.
lost, it's kind of like we've lost a year. Work during the day, and my new hobby is quilt at night. But that's pretty much it. I like I said, I do work a full-time job during the day, and so this is literally just a hobby.
Okay.
That I've picked up.
And what part of the country are you from?
So born and raised in Dallas, Texas,
Okay.
and I live in a suburb of Dallas today. And prior to COVID, I drove into downtown Dallas every day to work.
Yep. My sister used to live in Arlington.
Okay.
So I've been to the stockyards and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool down there.
So interestingly enough, so I'm east of downtown Dallas. Arlington would be like on the west end, side, and then Fort Worth is, of course, further west,
Right.
Than I am. And I have been to Fort Worth, but I've not been to the stockyards.
Really? You'll have to go. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear.
So how long have you been quilting?
So I picked up the hobby in September of 2020. So I have a cousin who lives in Tennessee, and she married and is now has had a baby, but she was having a baby. And so we were having a virtual baby shower in October. And her sister-in-law had given her all of her baby stuff. So she really didn't have a lot of needs in terms of gifts and stuff for the baby. And so I wanted to do something creative and special. So I decided I would make a quilt. And so I looked in Pinterest. Honestly, I started with Pinterest first, found a Nancy Zeman free pattern, and went to Hobby Lobby and picked out, all the and gray fabrics and little beads, and get home and I started looking at YouTube. So I started YouTube at that point, at least YouTube for quilting.
Right.
And then, so I got all my how-tos, and of course, very first quilt I make, it tells you the measurements, and I cut them an inch short.
Oh no.
But I made do. So my first quilt ever was in September of 2020.
Wow.
The baby quilt. And I've just been obsessed since.
Yeah, I've seen all the pictures that you post on our Facebook group, and you've just kind of like gone to town. They're gorgeous.
I literally just came from the quilt shop. Last week I was there for 3 days. And then, so I just picked up a quilt that they texted me that it was ready. I have two still sitting there. And so it's part of my pre-COVID life with my kids was scouting. And so with scouting, sorry, that my dog wants my attention.
That's okay.
She won't bark. So I camped every month. We literally camped every month with scouts, and I did week-long summer camps, and so that's all stopped. And so somebody had a lot of time on my hands,
right?
And come in, and so I'm actually going to be camping for the first time in over a year this weekend, and I'm going to miss my machine.
Yeah.
Be like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
You have to take up some hand quilting.
That's why I was so happy that the quilt was ready, because I'm going to put the binding on, and I always hand do the front side. So that's the plan. And if you quilt to me before then, that'd be great, because I'll feel
There you go. So how did you, I guess you had said that you just learned quilting mainly by YouTube and Pinterest and patterns you found on there?
Right. Everything. I had a sewing machine. My husband gave me a sewing machine very early in our marriage because he wanted me to hem pants. In this house, we're very short stature. And so he bought me a Kenmore.
Okay.
20 something years ago. And for the longest time, I just did little crafts with it, right? Little things, make the kids, applique shirts or with scouting merit badges, get sewn on the sash and patches and on the shirts. And then a couple of years ago, I bought another machine at Costco. It's just a brother that does a little bit of embroidery. Thought that might help because we have neckerchiefs that we'll put names on.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've been using as a brother machine up until last week. And so because I've learned so much from different YouTube channels that I've seen, and my machine clearly has been giving me some problems because I'm overusing it quite a bit.
Right.
Nobody's ever taught me to clean the feed dogs. I learned that.
Yeah, I learned the hard way too.
Yeah. So last week I actually purchased a new machine. It's a baby lock.
Okay.
Baby lock crescendo. And I'm just starting to kind of learn how to do that machine and all it does. So they told me some of my attachments for my walking foot were in, and so I went to go grab those and my quilt.
Yep.
So, well, pretty much that's it. Nobody in my family really has ever quilted.
Okay.
My grandmother did knitting. Great grandmothers that did crochet. I have an aunt that does crochet. I've tried to do those and never gotten the hang of it. But yeah, sewing pretty much, it's a first that I started doing. So it's all
Well, hey, YouTube is great. That's where I learned it too.
Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite quilt that you've made?
That's a hard question.
You've made a lot.
That's a hard question. So when we did our first quilt exchange, I was trying out foundation paper piecing because I had in my head that I wanted to represent Texas. I learned foundation paper piecing, and all the quilt blocks were the blue bonnets. And I remember I laid it out on my bed and I'm like, oh, that would make a cool quilt. So I went ahead and made all new blocks for myself for a blue bonnet quilt, and it's foundation paper piecing.
Right.
And so when that one came out, I'm like, oh man, this one looks so much better than all my other quilts. I don't know that I want to quilt it because I've quilted all my quilts up until that point.
Okay.
And by quilting, I had done it like a couple of free motion, and I had, watched all the videos and keep watching videos. And I had a walking foot. And so I'm like, this is too good. I can't mess this one up. And so I also was working on a US flag quilt and then went ahead and made a Texas quilt around the same time. And so I decided to have both of those long arm. And so I would say those are probably my favorites. And at that same time, I was also learning about fabrics, how there's a world beyond.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I go to Hobby Lobby in a pinch. Or if I really have to stay on budget, that's where I'll go. But
Right.
I love going into a fabric store and just touching and feeling. I mean, there's just such a difference between the box stores and the quilt store fabric.
So saying that, those quilts were free fabrics from quilts. And so now I have some new favorites too. The materials feel so good.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of favorites. And, and I keep making them because I like them, and I'm like, I can't keep them all. Eventually, they're all going to be gifted. But yeah, at this point, I'm stocking up for Christmas.
There you go.
So I'm making them, and I'm like, one day I'll let go of the blue bonnet. That one's Right on my bed. Actually, I haven't even washed it after it came back from the long armor.
I love that one. I was lucky enough to get one of your blocks in the swap, and it's right center of my quilt that I made. I love that one. You did a great job.
That quilt is right here. My Texas quilt, and this is my blue bonnet quilt.
So do you have a tip for any beginner quilters? I mean, I know you just started, but you're definitely, I wouldn't consider you a beginner quilter. You've definitely got some experience under your belt.
Man, I think with YouTube, there is just so much information out there. But just say, don't be scared to try something. It's just fabric.
Yeah.
You can, you know, even if it's like older fabric, guess what? You can find it on Etsy or different, you know, it's
right.
out. You'll find more fabric.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say to experiment, watch YouTube videos, and that would be probably my best advice from a non-quilter here.
So, and we know we mentioned the block swaps, but what have you liked most about doing these block swaps that we've done?
I guess it's the Facebook group and the communicating on the Facebook group, and just receiving that happy mail, you know. And I have no happy mail today. But I think those are probably the best two things from the Quilt Exchange, is definitely that that communication with other people within the Facebook group, and getting their nice note and their happy mail that comes in, and it just brings such joy. You know, it's like it's like from my room I can hear, oh, there's the mailman. I can hear the mailman driving by. It's like, honey, you're gonna go get it? Honey, are you gonna go get the mail?
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's probably I think the best part of it.
So what do you have planned for your next quilting project?
So I started a quilt Sunday night, because I didn't set up my machine until Saturday. I bought it over the week, set it up Saturday. Sunday, I started a new quilt, and it was a Summer in the Park. Missouri Quilt Company did a video.
Okay.
And it's actually a quilt that I saw somebody post on a Facebook group, and it was a yellow and white originally, and I fell in love with it. And but my son's wanting a black and gray quilt, and so I had bought some jelly rolls, black and gray, and so I'm like, oh, this would work for that. So that's what's on my wall today. You know, whenever I can at this point. Yesterday I didn't even touch my machine. I haven't touched my machine today, but I'm making progress on it. But that's what I'm working on today. Summer in the Park. It's a Missouri Quilt Company video, and I didn't buy the pattern. Just go and buy the video.
Yeah. Yep. I love their videos. I would love to one day go meet Jenny. She's like my quilt hero.
It's amazing to see the evolution from you know the videos from 10 years ago and 12 years. But I've still seen some of those videos and look at those videos, and then their videos today. And same thing with like Kimberly Jolly.
Yeah.
Fat Quarter Shop. That's another one that I'll watch her videos as well. And so, and I've ordered from both of those things as well.
Yeah, they're good companies.
Yep, definitely.
So just a plug for my YouTube channel. Have you learned anything from some of the videos that I've posted?
Oh,
or absolutely. Do you enjoy any of those?
No, absolutely. I've actually gone back. I was having trouble with sashing on I went back to your videos. It's amazing. I mean, I go back and I'll look at videos all the time. So no, I've definitely learned from watching your videos. Enjoy them, watch them, you know, as soon as they come out, usually if I can.
Oh, thanks.
At least until, you know, that evening, or if it comes out early or whatever. But no, they've been rewatched by me a few times. So, and love you put together the Quilt Block Exchange video. the Howdy neighborhood, which at first I was like, that's a lot of pieces.
It was.
And I hesitated. I'm like, I'm not going to do more than one. And then, so then I'm like, I can do that. So I did two. And then I reached out and I'm like, I'll take another.
Yeah. I was so glad you did because I needed help. But yeah, when I was planning that quilt block, I'm like, this is so many pieces, and some people are going to kind of be overwhelmed because there's so many pieces. But really, once you start putting it together, especially in the sections, it's not that overwhelming. But you just have to jump in and try it.
Right. But yeah, that first, and that's what I would tell people. It's like, I would tell people not to be scared to try it. It's just fabric.
Yeah.
Go to Joann's and Hobby Lobby and look at their clearance bins.
Yeah.
And I have a box full that I will play around with and make blocks out of that.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth the try. I mean,
yeah.
Until you try it.
That's right.
Yeah. But no, those have been, the videos have been great. I thoroughly enjoy it. And, and I look at, those videos and I'm like, that's awesome. What makes somebody start doing their own YouTube videos,
Yeah.
I think sometimes, and, I have teenage boys and they watch YouTube all the time, but of course they watch different types of YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're like, Mom, I'm like, you watch YouTube videos too.
Yeah, I made my son subscribe and I'm like, you can watch them if you want. And he's like, it's okay, Mom. I don't need to watch how you make quilts, but I'll subscribe if you want me to. Like, okay, thanks.
So you have a son as well?
I do. He's almost 20. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's like they're getting so big. It's just amazing how fast they grow, especially this last year. Last year, it's like I've been home with them every single day for over a year now.
Yeah, makes for long days, but in 10 years you'll look back and I don't think you would ever trade it for anything, just to have that time with them.
A lot of positives come out of all.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah.
One of them, and then new hobbies, right?
Yep. I mean, that's when I didn't start quilting till it's been over a year. So I took a quilting class in January of 2020 at a local quilt store, one of the tours we did.
Yeah.
And right as my class ended is when everything kind of shut down. So, and then I got bored and I'm like, hey, let's do a YouTube channel.
No, that's awesome. No, I've been looking at, do I want to join a quilt guild? Meeting virtually, and it's like, that's not the same.
Yeah, it's not.
And some of the ladies in the quilt shop that I just visited, they're part of the Modern Quilt Guild. And actually where my boys met for scouting, that church also hosts a quilt guild.
Okay.
I remember a couple of years ago, I was in the building that day and I'm like, looking down from the second level, looking down at them working and then coming down and walking around and watching them work. It's like, wow, I'll never do that. I'm like, oh, I'm doing that.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, so I kind of look forward to that, to the in-person stuff, even though it's open, right?
Yeah, I can't wait till everything just gets back open.
But Texas technically is not open. I mean, our church still doesn't allow us to do meetings.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of that still. So.
Oh, what church do you go to?
So the church that the Scouts and that hosts the Quilt Guild is a Presbyterian church.
Okay.
But actually, we're Catholic.
Okay.
But we actually do a lot with that church just because they host our scouting unit that my boys. So we'll help them serve breakfast on to the homeless, at least pre-COVID.
Right.
So we do a lot there, and so but it's a Presbyterian church, a local one.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking forward to when that quilt guild can start again, so that I can join.
Yeah, I really want to find a local one too. Once we're in New Jersey, so it's kind of a little opened up a little bit more, but still you can't really meet too much in person. If you do, you have to wear a mask, and I don't know, it's not the same.
It's not the same. No. I've actually been to Newark a couple of times
Okay.
with work.
Okay.
When
I don't
go,
know how far away is Newark?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half north. So we're about 20 minutes south of Philly. So I almost want to say I'm from Philly, not from
Right.
Jersey. I moved here about 2 years ago when I got married. So I'm not technically from Jersey. I'd rather say I was from Philly.
Right. That's funny. I tell people I'm from Dallas, but I don't live in Dallas anymore.
Yeah.
But I've actually, anytime I go for work into Newark, I actually, as soon as I get off of work, I go straight into the city, straight into New York.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, yeah. So you've only been there a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
From originally.
So I lived in Maryland for about 20 years. And then I just lived all around the country before that. I'm sorry?
So from like pretty much from the East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast. Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now I've just lived here in Texas.
Yep. I thought about moving down when my sister was living there, but it was just too hot. I can't take the heat. We were there, I think it was in maybe 2012, 2013, and we went to an air show in July, and it was just melting hot. We ended up sitting under an airplane wing for a little while because that was the only shade. But it was really fun, but it was hot.
It definitely, and July is not even the hottest. Yeah. August usually.
Yeah.
But this winter was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So this winter, we probably experienced things that y'all experience all the time. It's nothing.
Yeah, I think you guys actually got more snow than we did.
That freezing temperatures that really caused havoc.
Yeah. Well, you guys aren't, you don't have the pipes would freeze because you don't really have it that far underground. And yeah, it was probably a mess.
We were blessed that our pipes didn't burst. A lot of people's did. I've seen friends that have had their houses fully gutted.
Oh,
like, I mean, it's down to the studs because they weren't home having no electricity.
Right.
And then their pipes cracked. And
it's just water everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were blessed. We only lost power for maybe 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
One day. And power stayed on the rest of the time. So our house was down like 52 degrees with no power. But my bushes didn't survive the freeze. I need to redo all my landscaping in the front.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep, we did not plan for this kind of weather.
No, I don't think anybody did.
So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I had fun getting to know you and chatting with you a little more.
Definitely fun.
And don't forget, all our viewers, if you want your own personalized mug with your name on it, you can go to our website, quiltsontour.com, and they're $15, and you can get your own mug.
Very nice mug.
All right.
And very well packaged. It arrived so safe.
I'm so glad. I was really nervous.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Yep. Look forward to chatting with you some more.
Yep. And I'll see you in the Facebook group.
Definitely. Talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.